Hi, welcome to the Julie Rowe Show. Today is Friday, August 16th, 2019. Hi, Eric.
Hello, Julie. This is take 2.
Take 1 was yesterday, August 15th.
Right?
30-minute podcast, and it ended up not recording correctly.
No.
So here we are, and we'll see what comes out of our mouths today.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? I never know.
It must have been for a reason. I think today's will be better.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, either way, it's going to be what it's supposed to be. That's my default every time I get anxiety about what's going to be said about me or how it's going to be said or whether or not I said it the right way. I just kind of go to the default. Oh, well, nothing's coincidental.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's what it's supposed to be, whatever that is. We'll let the energy just go where it's going to go.
That's a good way to roll. There's a lot less stress in your life that way.
Right? It's like, helps me let go of the outcome.
Yeah.
You just, so anyway, so we'll see. I do have a few ideas, Eric, that you and I've talked about that have kind of prompted this podcast. I'd like to talk about the upcoming group energy classes we have going on and some possibilities, some other ones. And then, anyway, why don't we go with that? And then just some other ideas that we've been talking about with podcasts.
Sure. So it's like business first and then pleasure comes later. It's kind of like a mullet, right? Business up top, party in the back.
Thanks for that image in my head.
You're welcome.
For which I am FaceTiming Eric right now, and I just got to put it out there. I'm so glad you don't have a mullet. That would be very distracting. Anyway.
Not that there's anything wrong with mullets. I don't know.
Right. If you have a mullet, please don't take offense. I don't mean to hurt your feelings.
Sure. No, they're good.
All right. So, anyway. Oh, that was fun. What was that?
Business. We're in the business portion of the mullet.
All right,
Go
it's
ahead.
time to get serious. It's been a long week, a good week. I've had a lot of clients this week, a lot of really intense emotional sessions, which is always the case with the work that I do. But some days are harder than others, and I've had a lot of good cries this week, released a lot of my own energy. I feel better as a result of it, and more, I guess you could say, motivated or pumped up to teach you some more of the things I've learned this week. And the last couple of weeks, I've cleared energy and I've been able to have the veil open and teach me some other things that I hadn't learned before, or I should say, I learned it before, but I didn't have confirmation on. And so I'm going to bring some of those ideas to the upcoming energy classes. We have Boise coming up, September 14th. All the classes are on Saturdays as of right now. So Saturday, September 14th, Boise, Idaho. Like usual, about a week before, we're going to close registration, and we will send out emails with information and directions and all that to the venue location to those on the list. So if you haven't signed up and you want to sign up for that, we do have a coupon code that you can put into the computer, Early Bird Boise, all capital letters. That expires, the Early Bird Special expires on September 1st.
Right.
And then we have another coupon code for October 19th, Saturday, which is San Diego. It's actually going to be in Oceanside, but we're calling it the San Diego event because people are more familiar with San Diego in that area of the country when they book their tickets to go into LA or San Diego airports or whatever they need to do. But the actual event is in Oceanside, California. The coupon code for that, for Early Bird Special, which ends on October 1st, is all capital letters, Early Bird Diego, right? Diego, like for San Diego.
That's
so just
right.
Diego.
That's right. And just so people know, if you've tried to use those coupons and it didn't work, there was some trouble. I really don't know what was happening, but I just deleted those coupons and recreated them, and people have said it's working now. So you can just try again if you had trouble. Okay,
cool. And can you also put a blog post on with those? Just send it out.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, you bet.
The other thing, so the classes will be the same. Registration starts at 9. Please don't get there before 9. We have work we start doing with our registration staff and security at 8 in the morning. We do not want you showing up before 9. You won't be able to get in before 9, so there's no point in getting there before 9. Class doesn't start until 10. I get there at 9:45, so don't go in hopes of trying to meet me early or any of that. That's been kind of an issue with the classes. It would be really helpful if you could show up sometime between 9 and 9:15 or 9:30. Plenty of time to get your seats. And this next class right now, we've got about 40 people plus staff showing up. Plenty of seats available because we can seat, I think, around 100 or at least 80, 85, something like that. Let's see. Oh, same with San Diego. We have plenty of seats for San Diego. So,
yesterday you talked a little bit about the change of format, the QA stuff.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so here's a great idea. Eric actually gave me the idea. I'd been asking the Spirit since January if I could do something about, things I see coming as possibilities in certain parts of the country. And I didn't get permission from the Spirit until a couple months ago to share a little bit at the last Provo meeting that we had, the Provo sessions that we had. And that was Eric's idea. He helped kind of prompt me to ask the Lord again about whether or not I can share more when I go to Boise and San Diego. Our event coordinators, independent of Eric, brought up the same topic. So I'd like to let them know I appreciate their input as well. I've had I guess you could say, second and third witness on it, which lets me know that we're on track. I feel good about it. I have no idea what I'm going to share that day. It's just whatever the veil opens up to me and shows me. I have been told that I'll share details that have not been shared in podcasts or books related to the Boise, Idaho area, northern Idaho, Alaska, Washington, Canada, Oregon, along that whole coast. We're going to focus on that and some of Utah when we are in Boise. And then also, and we'll do at least a half hour of that. And then also San Diego, the California coast, some of the ocean, Pacific, war in the Pacific, Hawaii, some of the islands, Mexico, South and Central America, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas. That's kind of what I see in that class.
And this is all in addition to the traditional energy work topic that
right. This is additional, but it'll help people clear energy in a different way related to some of the fear and trauma energy they have, and even like having read the books or listened to podcasts or read stuff online or reading things on the news and stuff like that. It'll help trigger them to release energy from trauma they hear about, things going on in the world. We'll talk a little bit about human trafficking, what's going on there, some GTRF, and just help clear energy, because whether people realize it on a conscious level or not, we're all connected like a tapestry, and all these shifts going on in the world are affecting every one of us every day, and many of you can feel them more dramatically than others. So we're going to clear energy. When we do this, we clear energy on both sides of the veil. There are literally millions of people that will be attending these classes on the other side of the veil. I'd like to welcome them. Many of them are listening to this podcast recording right now, and I just want to thank them for joining us and let them know that we are excited about them joining us for the classes in Boise and San Diego as well. And in addition to that, I've been having thoughts and been talking to Eric about doing a class in January in Logan, Utah. We do not have a venue selected yet, and I have not talked to the event coordinators, but that is a new development this week. I plan on talking to our event coordinators when I see them in Boise, and in the next several weeks, we'll discuss some of that to see whether or not they can help us. If not, then the Lord will provide whoever is supposed to help as event coordinators. That I don't have confirmation on that I'm going to do it, but the more I think about it, the better I feel about it. And even if we have 5-10 people come to that class, I'm still willing to do it, because I know we have millions of people on the other side of the veil that'll get their energy cleared and learn as well. So that's what I'm gearing towards for the first of the year. I am taking November and December off from most of my GTRF work, other than what I can do from home, because my oldest son is coming home from his mission October 23rd. We just got notice a couple weeks ago of the plane ticket. Plane ticket is booked, and he is coming home. So we're excited about that. And then he's going to go out to school in January. So I'm going to be busy helping him get ready for that. And my second son just put his papers in last week. And so we should hear any day on where his mission call is going to be. And he put his availability for December 1st, but I have a feeling it might be a little later than that going into the first of the year. So
that's exciting.
We'll see,
Julie.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to focus on my family as much as I can towards the end of the year, while I have all three of my kids home. And since I don't know when in the foreseeable future we'll have that opportunity again for a while. So let's see what else. Oh, podcasts, Eric.
Yeah, podcasts.
Right. So a couple weeks ago, I was on the plane, and I just had this total download on all these podcast ideas, which I hadn't had for a while. and I did not save them on my phone. I sent them to Eric. I don't know if you still have them.
I've got them.
If
Yep.
you do have them, so it was a long list. I don't know if we'll do all of them. I'm not going to announce what all of those are, but the two that we have coming up, and I've mentioned to you guys before on homesickness, I have cleared tons of stuff out of myself on homesickness. I have more of it coming up. This was a huge week for me with homesickness, and I know many of my clients have mentioned, and we've released homesickness. We're talking about homesickness from premortal, homesickness from past everything, right? There's all kinds of homesickness from every level, layer, realm, dimension, past creations, past probations, homesickness from people in this probation growing up, so lots of types of homesickness. We're going to work on that on this upcoming podcast. I'm going to be recording 2 podcasts in the next couple weeks with Eric. One is on homesickness, and the other one is, Eric, do you want to announce it?
Yes, multiple probations is going to be a big one.
Right. So we're going to do multiple probations. So are we going to do multiple probations before or after, like the King Arthur and memories and all that? I think we should do King Arthur memories first. Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that. A little bit. I'm like fighting it inside a little.
Eric really wants to do the multiple probations. There's layers to it. I feel like we should do, okay, so I have permission finally and some more clarity on some of the more of my memories from my book of life. We're going to talk a little bit about prophet Jeremiah, Zedekiah, some of the days of Jeremiah. We're going to tie some of that into Joseph of Egypt and his wife. Some people call her Aseneth or Asenath. We're going to talk a little bit about that, what I see there and some of those memories, and then tie that into more memories that have to do with King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and clear up some of the myths or legends and false stories that have been told by the Luciferians in each of those scenarios.
Awesome.
Tying in one of Eric's other favorite topics, the hidden bloodlines of Christ.
Yeah.
Right, Eric? So we'll help you out there. We'll let you get some of that out of your system. At least
you.
The hidden bloodlines of Christ.
That sounds
Eric's
good to me.
Eric's really been studying a lot of that. So why don't we do, and I don't know if we're going to do that one before we do homesickness. Well, we'll do 2 of those next week. And then shortly thereafter, I originally felt like we would do multiple probations in September, but I know Eric is like really wanting to do that one. So anyway,
I'll do whatever you say and whatever the Spirit says. But the bottom line is, the cool thing is heaven is opening up. I mean, we've been asking questions about a lot of these things, and it's, it wasn't time or whatever. And it's just, and we've seen another recent wave of, I'm getting a little piece of this, Julie is, and then we have some close friends that we consult with, and we talk, and we're all getting revelation independently. And so the law of witnesses is being invoked, which is always a confirmation to me, and I think you, Julie, that it's time and that heaven wants us to go forward. And so it's cool to see it's not us driving, really, it's the Spirit, right?
No. Yeah, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I love how that works. I mean, I've been asking about some of these things my whole life, right? Some of these questions I've had, some of the things I see, some of the memories I have, the emotions that are attached to the memories, and trying to understand what they've been trying to tell me, things that I remember from my near-death experiences when I wake up, and then they show it to me again in either day or night vision, or when I've had out of bodies. And so to make sense, more and more sense of what it is I'm feeling, seeing, hearing, understanding, and to meet other people who are experiencing similar things is very validating. It's very helpful, and it's very confirming. And it's nice to know as a family, when we are gathering, which is what we're participating in, that we're not alone in this, and that there are a lot of people that are having these experiences, that their gifts are opening up, the veil is opening for them more and more. And we're going to see more and more of this as we go deeper into the latter days, going into the tribulations, as the veil opens and people start healing from their past hurts and pains, and they start releasing this energy so that their bodies can be either transfigured, transformed, translated, resurrected, whatever their plan is. So it's just a beautiful plan. I love it.
Yeah, it really is. Julie, can I make that request now that I made yesterday to your listeners? Yeah. It just happens this way. Whenever we do a doctrinal based podcast, it seems like we always get some people with some really great ideas and comments after the fact. And I was thinking, gosh, it'd be nice to get some of those before so that I can incorporate that into some of the more research stuff, And
that'd be cool. Yeah.
so I wanted to ask your listeners if they know anything about historical locations or times in history when the Israelites, when Israelite blood, migrated into some little part of the world, like China or Asia or India or someplace in, South America or whatever, Europe. Because I know of these little traditions that, there's relics in this little village and there were Christians a long time ago or whatever, things like that.
Right.
And I've read about a lot of these, but it would be nice to hear from your listeners who may or may not have more experience in some of those areas than I do. So,
thank you.
So,
and also for me, like, I have memories from my book of life. What I mean by that are from my probations. Anytime I have said anything about my book of life, you guys, that's a clue into my past, my identity, and my records. I am giving you permission to peek into my energy and into my past, into the memories of my existence. And so as you go back and look at those memories, it gives you some more clues. And this one too, with what we have coming up. And as we gather the family, then it will help you identify some of your probations. Be very cautious. It opens you up to the adversary, of course. But many of you feel a connection to me and you're wondering how. Is it just premortal? Is it from a past life? Is it from another world? Like, what's the connection? And so I purposely have done these podcasts to help you hear my voice, feel my energy, hear my stories, so that you can hear the memories I have, and it will trigger you to help you remember yours as well.
Yes.
And and you do the same for me, right? So if people send these emails and they're like, yeah, I studied such and such, and I saw the Israelites, they went over in, 50 AD or whatever over to China. Because I don't know what year I walked that silk path. I haven't asked the Lord that. I haven't gotten that far. I just know I've been on it. I've seen the Great Wall of China. Never in this life, just, other times.
The Silk Road you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Silk Road. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I call it Silk Path.
No, that's
Silk Road.
That's really cool. And I'm just a witness to that as, we've been doing this for a few years now. It's woken me up to some of my own, and I do feel a connection in certain areas and times of history. I know some of your listeners do as well. And I just want to give them some advice, pray about it. But if you identify with a certain time in history, it's usually for a reason. Or if you've had repeated dreams or deja vu experiences throughout your life, that can be little indications of who you've been in the past, right?
Right. And who you might be in the future, right? It all ties in. That energy follows us. Karma is a real thing, not the way it's described on the internet, but that energy pattern, those energy flows, those energy interactions, and connections follow us in our future. And so where we have different groups of people, different family members, not always, but often, they are part of our experiences in multiple probation experiences.
That's great.
So, the people that are in my closest circles, not every time, but often, the Lord has shown me that I've known them for a long time and they've been in my closer circles at other times. And you guys, it's the same for you. You feel certain people you meet, you feel a connection to, you don't even know why, you just feel like you've known each other forever. And that could have been from some kind of premortal experience. It could have been pre-existence where you didn't have a body yet. It could have been in between creations, in between when you had mortalities. And it could have been while you were on this world or another world or whatever, depending on how old you are.
Good. And again, for those who haven't heard Julie say this is not the doctrine of reincarnation. That is the counterfeit, false doctrine of the true doctrine of multiple probations, which we'll talk about more later.
Right. But I will say this. If you're a man, you've always been a man. If you're a woman, you've always been a woman. You've never been a dog or a caterpillar. You've always been human, so far as I know. And I can say this, and I said this to one of the guys on my council today for G2RF. If I was ever a caterpillar, I don't want to know, because I'm having a hard enough time processing the fact that I've been human several times. I'm still trying to process all the lives I've lived. I don't want to know if I was a caterpillar. But to my knowledge, what I continue to be taught and shown by the Spirit, and in all truthfulness, you guys, I know that when you're created as a human being, you were created with the thought intent of being a human being. And that spirit twins are born together. There's always a male and female created spiritually at the same time, and it's manifested physically. So it really is a false doctrine of reincarnation. You were never a butterfly on the earth, and then, you didn't make a good choice, and so you had to go back as a caterpillar, and then you made good choices, so you got to come as a cat. It doesn't work like that.
The way that's
So,
been explained to me, since we're on that note, is that while we haven't been those things, Heavenly Father has allowed some of us to experience the sensations of being those things for whatever
right.
reason.
Right. So, like, I have been given emotions or perspectives of a tree or a caterpillar or a dog. And as an empath, I carry that in my energy body, but that does not mean that I was that cat or dog.
Right, right.
So it's hard for people to understand why they have certain emotions or what they feel is in a memory. And, but there's so much to the layers that what make us up. Just at the very least, everyone on the planet has at least 5 layers to them. And we'll go into some more of that later. And I talk about some of that in the classes. You have at least 5 layers to you. And usually most people I see have 7, and many people have more than that. Some people have literally thousands and thousands of layers that make up who they are in their aura and their cosmic, their spiritual bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
very complex design, but hey, fascinating, isn't it? I love it.
It sure is. Well, this has been a nice little teaser for an upcoming podcast. I'm glad we went there. And again, for those who have little pieces or research you've done on that note that I asked for earlier, just send that to agreatertomorrow2014@gmail.com, and Julie and I will get that.
Yeah. Thank you. And when it comes to multiple probations, I'm not going to put that. Eric and I will not put any of that in email. Anything we have permission to share with you, we will share with you over a podcast. Many of you have asked questions, and we continue to ignore those emails, or basically kindly try to say, thanks, we appreciate your interest, but we're not going to discuss that. It's too sacred, and really, quite honestly, to put something in writing when there are so many dark forces at work on this planet and in the other realms, I just am very hesitant to put anything in writing when I know that my email and my text messages and my phone calls are being listened to and watched by the dark side.
Yeah, so, and I think that's
some people might say I have paranoia, but I don't. It's called the sixth sense or something.
Yeah, like exactly. We did talk about me putting some doctrinal notes on my blog. If you're still okay
that's
with that,
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, because any doctrinal notes that you put there, I would be comfortable putting in a podcast, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And what I had permission from the Spirit to talk about a year ago is different than what I have permission to talk about now.
Yeah.
One good thing about my excommunication, and there are a lot of good things, you guys, because it has allowed me to shift my energy and the universe to shift and to open some things up where I have permission from the Spirit now to be more open about some things. And I think you guys will feel that. So we will share as much as we're able to share. Anything we share, we recognize we're accountable for. And once you hear it and the Spirit witnesses and testifies to you that it's true, you're accountable too. So there's a fine line there that we're balancing to make sure that we don't give some of these mysteries of the kingdom when somebody's not ready for it. And then it's to your condemnation and ours instead of actually helping.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I weigh it,
Yep.
So what's the other thing I was going to talk about? Oh, the excommunication. So I hope you guys can hear I'm doing well. I feel good. I've worked through most of the hurt, most of the anger. It still surfaces. It's still been very traumatic for my husband and I, but more so for him, I think, in a lot of ways, because he didn't have the same type of preparation for his plan. It was different, quite shocking. Our marriage is stronger than ever before, so we're doing good there. He's been really supportive, very loving. He knows that we're still sealed. He knows that I haven't lost my baptismal covenants or my ordinances on the other side of the veil. The Spirit's been very, very comforting for him that way, and for my children. And so we're in a good spot that way. And I'm just thankful for all of your thoughts and your prayers and all of your putting my name in the temple and our names in the temple, because I feel that, and I'm just thankful to each of you for helping with that. So.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that, Julie.
Yeah. So, can you think of anything else, Eric?
No. I think we've covered it.
Okay. Well, we look forward to doing another podcast. I think we'll probably take some time to record at least one of those podcasts next week. I don't know which of the two will come first, but stay tuned. And maybe another week or so we'll get that podcast out.
Sounds good. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. All right. Have a great weekend. And those of you that have kids starting school or have started, we wish you well. The first month of school is crazy. So. Take care, everybody. Love you.